And welcome to another early morning hours coding stream. Advent of Code, day 5. Let's see if I can rush through this time. Or not. Day 5, cafeteria. As the forklifts break through the wall, the elves are delighted to discover that there was a cafeteria on the other side after all. You can hear accommodation. Isn't there actually something in the settings too? Help. FAQ. High contrast modes. Inside the browser, okay. Oh well. Can hear a commotion coming from the kitchen. At this rate, we won't have any time left to put the wreaths up in the dining hall. Resolute in your quest to investigate. If only we hadn't switched to the new inventory management system right before Christmas, another elf claims. You ask what's going on. The elves in the kitchen explain the situation. Because of their complicated new inventory management system, they can't figure out which of their ingredients are fresh and which are spoiled. When you ask how it works, they give you a copy of their database, puzzle input. The database operates on ingredient IDs. It consists of a list of fresh ingredient ID ranges, blank line, and a list of available ingredient IDs. For example, fresh ID ranges are inclusive. The range 3 to 5 means that the ingredient IDs 3, 4, and 5 are all fresh. The ranges can also overlap. An ingredient ID is fresh if it is in any range. The elves are trying to determine which of the available ingredient IDs are fresh. In this example, this is done as follows. 1 doesn't fall in the ranges above. 5 does fall in the ranges, 8 doesn't, and so on. In this example, 3 of the available ingredient IDs are fresh. Process the database file from the new inventory management system. How many of the available ingredient IDs are fresh? Okay, let's get this input. Get a copy, day 5. Copy this input. Hello. Select all. Did I copy all? Yeah. Example input. Solution. Clear out the body. In the example, we have 3 as the first result. Now, I have to pass the inputs. There are 2 parts. Get the ranges, which seem to be unordered. And there are a lot of IDs. The smart way would be probably to merge the list, but it should be easy enough to simply order it by the start value. So let's say we have parse input text, go over each line. Here we get the ranges. We get start and end by splitting the line. At the dash. But only if we are in the first part. We have ranges. The list of tuple of int. And then at the second part, just collect the IDs. That should be an integer. Sort the ranges using a key. And since this is a tuple t I, we sort by the first value. We return ranges and collected IDs. We get the return value of tuple list, tuple int, list int. So this first one is a list of tuples and the second part is collected IDs. List of integer, so we have ranges and collected IDs. Now we simply loop over guess I could also sort the sort these that way. I should be able to save off some time. Oh, we're gonna brute force for now. I guess if the number is like if I have a range and a number list of 3, 4, 5, and let's say the range is 2, 4, I loop. If I'm at a number greater than 4, I can break out, so I can save checking for this range. The number is smaller than start, continue. If number is larger than end, break. Otherwise, we collected the IDs. Let's do a sanity check. Assert this set of collected IDs equal to len collected IDs. Check if there are duplicates. Then we want to count how many are fresh. And in this case, we count fresh is equal 1. So part 1 answer, or should be. Comment out this part. Run this. Where do I get 4? Where I go through the numbers twice. So I have to collect them in a set. So the first part, the answer to the first part is 511, I guess. Part 2. The elves start bringing their spoiled inventory to the trash chute at the back of the kitchen, so that they can stop bugging you when they get new inventory. The elves would like to know all of the IDs that the fresh ingredient ID ranges consider to be fresh. Ingredient ID is still considered fresh if it is in any range. Now, for the second section of the database, the available ingredient IDs is irrelevant. Here are the fresh ingredient ID ranges from the above example. The ingredient IDs that these ranges consider to be fresh are 3, 4, 5, 10, and so on. So in this example, the fresh ingredient IDs ranges consider a total of 14 ingredient IDs to be fresh. Process the database file again. How many ingredient IDs are considered to be fresh according to the fresh ingredient ID ranges? So here you just have to calculate the overlaps, I guess. Obviously in the input file there's going to be a lot of numbers. So I guess one sorting does make sense. Def merge ranges. Of course, this needs a name. Then we return ranges, so the same type, but idea is to extend the range. So if we have, oops, level 3 to, I don't know, 10 to 20, and then one range is 15 to 25. We see 15 is between the first range, and we just replace the end range with 25, I guess. And then we can do simple subtraction to calculate how many numbers there are gonna be in the fresh ID list. I guess we can start with new ranges equal to ranges of 0. And then we loop over and ranges 1, starting at 1. This should be a list. And then we just check if last item, check if start we override it to be of this value. What can happen is the end may be smaller than this one, so we take the max. And that should be it. Actually, I missed one case. Especially if we want to add it, like if it's not between, then we want to add it. Range and let's say start and end. Hello, Tharsic. So we do that here. Answer part 2 equal to merge ranges. Or let's say merge ranges equal to merge ranges. And then I have to do the subtraction. So for each item, do end minus start plus 1 because we have inclusive for start and in merged ranges. And then for the example we have 14. Make the assertion check. So I get 18 here. Why do I get 18? It doesn't need to be plus 1. 17? Should be plus 1. This is yeah, you can call it typed Python, I guess. Like this is just a setting I can send you in Discord to get the type previews basically. But yeah, I've used types with Python a lot, not just recently. There's a really good YouTube channel which had some VScode setting, and so I just copied it. Let me quickly finish this. See debugger. With these ranges from the example file, 3 to 5 should be a range, so it should be initially added. Okay. Loop range is the next range, this one, 10 is start and 14 as end. So it should be added. New range. Why is it? It's replaced, right? Goes in here because this has to be, of course, this value. Now I get the answer. That's the right answer. I guess this is a new version of Python that has this. Haven't really used above 3. Oh. Let me quickly check on my other monitor so I don't leak anything. Yeah, so unsure how I should paste it, but in the VScode settings, I enabled this inline hints and also this type checking mode strict. So each time I don't specify the type or the interpreter can't, what's it called? Figure out what the type of variable is, like from a return type of a function or something. Like, yeah, you can still run Python code even though you have some errors. For example, an unused variable or something. No. A is not accessed. Literal 0. Or if you have a list and Python doesn't know what type the list contains, even though with appending it's gonna append an integer, so it should figure out that, but like, it doesn't work that way yet. Also, you can always append a string afterwards. If you say list of int, I'm gonna complain about this one because you have a list of integers, not a list of strings, so if you append a string, it doesn't work. But I guess you can also do this. Then you allow both, because in some languages like C, I think, and probably a ton of other languages, you can only put one type of just one type in a vector array. But Python is very dynamic, a good word for it. And same with dictionaries, of course. So let's do auto format. Auto format commit add day 5 solution. Alright, this is also bad. Should be is. False. Check if it still works. Still works. Alright, good night, Tausig. I'm also